Hey everybody, I'm Mama Baird and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be roasting up some corn and I'm going to make some corn cob stock out of the leftover corn cobs from that. This is corn that I received from the food bank. It might have been a little moldy on the ends, but you'll see how I take care of that. And this was food that I just needed to get preserved like that day. So this is just a kind of a small run of corn that I preserved to utilize it and to keep it from going bad. I do a lot of preserving food and cooking from your pantry on this channel. If that's the kind of content you like, I hope you consider subscribing. We're a really good group here on my channel and all my subscribers, and we have a lot of fun together. I'm also starting a new series on my channel where you guys submit your favorite recipes to me. I will leave my email below. Give me a story as to why it's your favorite or why it's a good pantry meal or what this means to you. It's your great grandma's recipe. It could be a pantry meal, it could be a frugal meal, it could be preserving something, some kind of jam or jelly or a chutney you want me to try. I don't know. Sky's the limit. Shoot me an email, give me those recipes, and you might be able to get featured on my channel. All right guys, so let's get into this corn. Okay, so I have all the corn here. These are the two that I got from the food bank, and then I have some fresh corn here. So all I'm going to do is just roast all these in the oven. We're gonna do 20 minutes and then we'll check them. And the fresh corn we're gonna leave in the husks. All right, so we're just gonna, I just noticed that some of these are moldy. Oh man, this may not be good, guys. Let me rinse these and see what I can do with them. Alright everybody, I was able to save them. I just gave them a good rinse and I cut off any moldy bits depending on how moldy it was inside, and then the rest of this corn is really fine and it's kind of nice and firm. So don't be discouraged if you see that. Just try and see what you can do to save as much of it as possible. And now we're going to get this in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. We'll check it. So my corn just came out. After 20 minutes it had charred on the bottom, but the top was still kind of raw, so I went ahead and rotated them and then cooked them another 15 minutes. Same with these, I just flipped them over. We're gonna let these cool a bit. You can see these are nice and beautiful in here. Oh yeah. So we're gonna let these cool and then we'll get this off the cob. To cut the kernel off of the cob, this is just the roasted corn. It's been cold, it's been sitting in the fridge overnight because I ran out of steam. I like to use a bump pan. I have a wet towel to keep the bump pan from sliding, and then a wet paper towel to keep the corn from sliding. And then I'm gonna try a paring knife and see if I need to switch to a different knife. But you just kind of want to cut the corn off right as it meets the cob. You don't want to cut into that white because that gets kind of bitter. Just do that and just kind of hold it flat against the side of it and run it down. You don't really want to get any of this hard stuff. And just rotate it. If you feel like you're getting too deep, pull out and then don't go in quite as deep. Yeah, this is working good, and then it catches in the pan as you cut. So now we have roasted corn off the cob. And now we're going to save these cobs and make a stock out of it. It's a good time to pick off any of the leftover hairs off of it. Just use this towel down here to wipe it. Look how beautiful that corn is. It looks, in my opinion, it comes out much better if you keep the husks on and roast them that way instead of taking the husk off and roasting them. Then it kind of like protects itself and steams it and gives it a nice, sweet, juicy center. Lost one of the corns to the 6-year-old. I don't even know how she ate this far. She's only got 1/2 of a big tooth. The other 3 are missing. But that's how good they are. No salt or butter, just roasted in its husks, and it's 6-year-old approved. This is how much corn we ended up with those 2 packets and then those couple of ears. And then I have my bag of cobs here that we're going to turn into a stock once my roasting pan is available. So for now, what I'm going to do is take the cold corn, put them in cold, clean jars. And by cold, I'm just talking about like room temperature is what I'm talking about, but we're not like hot packing. You can also do this with raw corn. If anybody knows a trick in getting these hairs out, let me know and let us all know in the comments below, because that is annoying. And those were on the ones that were, okay, ditch the spoon. Those are the ones that were from Costco, so they were pre-shucked. Actually gonna get a towel and bang that up to them. Don't want to bang glass against your counter. Now, compact it some. So get it up to that 1-inch head mark. Okay. This will fill it up. This one's not quite full, so we're just going to put a cap on this and include it in dinner this week. So after all that corn, we ended up with pretty much 5 pints. We would have had 5 if my 6-year-old didn't get a hold of that 1 cob. But that's okay. We'll just include that in dinner sometime. So we got 4 extra pints of corn that normally would have been thrown out, but instead we get to preserve it and have it on our shelves. And that's about the size of a can of corn. So there's 4 cans of corn that we have that we don't have to pay for. I mean, how much is a can of corn nowadays? 60 cents? No? So I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of canning salt to each one. Because I did not salt this corn at all, and it'll infuse it with flavor. Okay. And then I'm going to fill it up with room temperature water. Like I said, with canning, you can do any temperature, cold pack, room temperature, or hot pack, as long as everything is the same temperature. Okay, then we're going to debubble. It's recommended that you use something plastic so you don't break your jar. A lot of people use knives though, and they turn out just fine. So do that. Make sure it's still at your 1-inch headspace. Looks good. Second one. This one's gonna need a little more. There. Now, if you're not into canning, or you don't have it, or you don't want to do it, then this is corn. You could always freeze it, vacuum seal it, put it in a Ziploc bag, whatever you have. And then I got my paper towel with distilled vinegar. You're going to use that to wipe the rims to make sure you don't have any kind of debris on there. They're nice and clean. It's a good opportunity while you're rubbing your finger around the rim of the jar to check for any chips or cracks. Sometimes you can't really see them, but then once you feel them with your finger, you're like, haha. Fingertip tight, which means you don't want to use your inner Hulk, but you do want to make sure that they're not loose. you guys don't know where to find the times to pressure cook for which vegetable, if you just look in the manual that comes with your pressure canner, it'll say it. So I'm just gonna look up corn. Like here's corn, whole kernel, raw pack, hot pack. I'm gonna say this is I'm gonna say it's a raw pack, but it doesn't matter because we do it at the same time. So pints is gonna be for 55 minutes. So we're gonna fire this up and get it going. I don't have anything else that I can throw in there with it at this time. So it's just gonna be those 4 jars, which is fine. At least I'm getting 4 jars done and they're gonna be on the shelf and none of that corn got wasted. That's what matters. We're gonna turn our heat on high. Remember, this water is room temperature and that corn is all room temperature. So I'm gonna put the lid on it and we're gonna wait for it to start venting. There we go. Lid's on, and I'll bring you back when we're to the venting stage. Okay, see that steam coming out? That's what we're looking for. So once it starts venting like that, we're going to start a 10-minute timer. Now that our corn is out after the 55 minutes, it is all done. All 4 jars have sealed and it looks just beautiful. So really guys, canning is super easy. I highly suggest that you get into canning if you can to help preserve as much food as possible. Morning everybody. So I'm gonna make this super quick because I got to go running late. But before I leave, I want to get my corn cob stock started. Now this is all the corn that we roasted earlier. I have all of my cobs saved from that. And we're gonna make some roasted corn cob stock. I tried this for the first time last year and it was delicious, guys. It makes such a different element to soup. I know it sounds weird, but it's really good. Now you can also make jelly out of corn cobs. You can soak them in water like I'm doing to make a stock, but instead of using it to use it as a stock, you can just use it as a base to make your jelly, which I hear tastes like honey. So let's get my roaster pan loaded. I'm gonna bring it in close so you can see what I'm putting in it. My roaster pan has been getting a workout. I had beef stew that I made in this, and then I also cooked some more stock from the bones in my freezer and all my extra onion peels and stuff. And I make stock about twice a month and can it up. All right, so we got those in there, and then I'm also gonna put in some peppercorns. Just a couple. You guys, I cut my thumb. I had to go to the doctor. I wasn't gonna go, but husband made me go, and I had to get 3 stitches. Please be careful with your knives. All right, and then I'm gonna put in a couple of bay leaves. Just about 5 or 6 or so for that big of a pot. And then we're gonna fill the rest up with water. Right now I have this pretty full because I want a lot of stock. So I filled this up and that's all we're gonna put in there. And we're gonna let this cook while I'm out of the house, which I'm gonna be gone for like probably 9 to 10 hours today. So that's how long this is gonna cook for, and we're gonna cook it on 250. And there she sits. We'll check her when we come back. Hey everybody, good morning, good morning. So go figure, after my 10-hour day, I didn't feel like canning when I got home. Which is okay, that happens. You know, sometimes we bite off more than we can chew. Sometimes I surprise myself and actually get it all done. And other times you just kind of gotta have a backup plan for if you run out of steam. So all I did with this roaster is I turned it down to warm and just let it stay on warm all night long so it maintained the same temperature. And now I'm going to get into a pot, heat it up to boiling, and we're gonna throw it in the canner. So let's check it out. But first, coffee. All right, let's check out this stock and see what we got to work with. Oh, looks pretty good. Can you guys see that color? All right, first thing I'm gonna do is take out these corn cobs. We are done with these. They have done their job. My goats and my chickens will finish them off. All right, now I'm going to pour it through a strainer into a pot. The goal is without making a mess. And there we go. There's all of our goodies. Now I was thinking about this morning actually, because that's what I do at 2 a.m. I get up early and I think about my stock and what I possibly could have done wrong. And I think I forgot to put some onions in here. I think last time I put onions in here and that really helped. But that's okay, this will still be just as good. So let's get this heat on. And then I have my pressure canner set up here. This is stock, it does need to be pressure canned. All stock does. I'm gonna put it in quarts, so we're gonna pressure can it for 35 minutes. We're gonna wait for these to heat up, and let's go check our jars. Okay, so these jars I washed really good, and then I rinsed them with hot water, and then I kind of just have them soaking with some hot water. My sink has very hot water, so I have them in here full of water, and then we're going to dump out this water and pour in the stock as soon as the stock is boiling. So just in case some of you ask, the story behind my thumb, I was actually dicing up an apple, of all things, and it was my very last stroke, and I wasn't doing the claw. You know, you gotta have the claw, and then you cut, and my thumb decided to get in the way of my knife, and it did not end well for my thumb. Now I'm okay, it's still there. I got like a quarter through the nail, and enough where I could make my thumb talk if I wanted to. And I thought I was fine, but husband forced me to go to the urgent care. You know, I don't know, he's like, why were you so apprehensive about going to the doctor? And I was like, I don't know, I just worry. I have insurance, but I don't know how much it'll be, and I just have always been bombarded with medical bills after I go for something, like thinking I'm covered or thinking it's not going to be that much, and it ends up being a lot. And I was like, I feel like this is something, you know, slap some glue on it, wrap it up with a Band-Aid, it'll be fine, you know. And he's like, no, you need stitches, and I did end up getting 3 stitches in it. The doctor said I could have stuck it out if I wanted to, but it just would have probably healed weird and would have taken a while. But I don't know, somebody else like that, you're just like, nah, I'm fine, no, go to the doctor, no, I'm fine. I just, like, it didn't cost anything when I got there, but we'll wait till we see the bill, right? All right. Anyway, I wanted to let you know, you probably noticed this, so I wanted to let you know what happened and that I'm A-okay. So let's get our lids picked out and our rings ready, so that way when everything gets done, we can just slap it together real quick. Now that I got all these full, I'm gonna do a rim check. Just kind of like run your finger along, make sure all that is good. There's no chips, there's no cracks, there's no chunks missing, anything like that. Guys, you notice the color on this stock. I'm so excited. This stock is perfect for like butternut squash soup, or like you can use this instead of chicken stock to cook rice in, or vegetables or something. Okay. Now I do reuse my lids. Ones that I feel are fine. I check make sure there's no scratches or dents or stains, and there's nothing sticking to the rubber, or it's not pierced or slashed or any way. I reuse them. I feel like they're fine. I've had really good success in reusing lids. If you do not feel comfortable reusing lids, then don't do it. You get a brand new lid and do the same thing, just use a new lid. So whatever you feel comfortable with, I try and save as much money as possible. I have 3 quarts of water in my canner. That is what's recommended in my canner in the manual. I suggest you read your manual whenever you have your canner. Most canners are 3 quarts though. I'm not too sure like about the All-American canner or anything like that. These are the Prestos, are the canners that I have. And they fit 7 quarts. So we got our quarts in there. It has arrows here that you can see to match up with the arrows on the pot. And then you just do it close, like that. We're gonna turn our heat on high, and we're gonna wait for a bunch of steam to be coming out of this vent. Can you see that steady steam of air? That's how you know that it's ready to set your timer. So this is just a 10-minute timer to let this vent and get all of that air pushed out, so it'll help come up to pressure. So we're gonna let this vent for 10 minutes, then we're gonna put on our weight. All right, our 10-minute timer is going off. So you're just gonna take your weight and put it right on, and it'll start building pressure. On your weight, the pounds per pressure, or the PSI that you use, that's all going to depend on where you are elevation-wise, where you are. Usually the average is you would use 10 pounds of pressure if you're just at surface level. I am up in the mountains though, so I have to go up to 15 pounds of pressure. So that is what I'm using on this one. Make sure you do your research and figure out where you are and what your elevation is and what pounds of pressure you need to use. All right, so we're gonna wait for this to start a jiggling, and as soon as she does, we're gonna set our 35-minute timer. So it starts rocking just like that. So this is when you're gonna set your 35-minute timer. And then I like to turn my heat down so it doesn't continue to rock like that. Usually down to a 6.5. So it's just supposed to go like jiggle, 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 jiggle. And as soon as that timer goes up, we're gonna shut her off. One thing I want to point out, I have these 3 waiting. I got 2 more quarts and a pint. But this one, I heard a ping and it's sealed. So this jar sealed already. There's something I want to talk about that's super important, and that's just because a jar is sealed does not mean that it's safe to eat. This is a low acidic food, so the vinegar is not preserving it, keeping botulism from it. Sugar is a preservative, so like jams and stuff. But if it's low acidic, then it has to be pressure canned. So this is a stock, has to be pressure canned. Vegetables like green beans, carrots, if they're not pickled, they have to be pressure canned. Meats have to be pressure canned. So just because something's sealed, don't think, oh look, it's safe, it's fine, it's sealed. No, it's just waiting to get pressure canned. I'm still gonna be pressure canning this for 35 minutes, even though it's already sealed. That way, it's guaranteed to kill any of that botulism that's in there. Okay, just a little side note. Now let's wait for this to get done and I'll bring it back. Okay, so the pin has dropped here, as you can see. So that means you can take your weight off, and then you just wanna crack it, lift up, and kind of just catty corner it. You'll see some of that steam coming out, but you want this to slowly come to room temperature. If you just pull that lid off and let all that steam come out and pull those jars out right away, then it's gonna siphon really bad and it's just gonna be bubbling out, and it's just kind of a temperature shock for it. So I know we're excited to get in there and look at it, but we wanna make sure that we let it cool down, kind of let that steam disappear, and then we'll take it out and then we'll take a look at it, and then I'll get my other 3 jars in and I'll do another round with just those 3 jars in there. So that's where we're at this point. And that's it, guys. That's all we have to do to get some corn. This is what our corn cob stock looks like. Now all you're gonna do from this point, after it's cooled, you want it to stay on the counter for like 12 to 24 hours. Wait till it's cooled down, and then you're going to take the ring off. If the ring is stuck, sometimes, you know, you channel your inner Thor, but you still can't get it off, then just run it under some hot water, the seal sideways, and I let the water pierce it here, and then it should come right off. So we're gonna scrub this, label it, and get it on our shelf. We ended up with 9.5 quarts of corn cob stock and 4 pints of corn that we get to put on our shelf and use later on. And this is food that normally would have got thrown out, at least those 1 corn cobs would have. And instead, I saved it and made food for my family that I can store. I highly encourage everyone, if you can, to get into learning how to preserve food. There's so much food in this country that goes to waste. Learn how to preserve it, save yourself some money, save the planet, and stock up on some food. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time on Mama Bairds.